Welcome back to Thoughts from Underground. Perhaps we'll start with something light. Best to keep things in the shallow end. For now. So let's begin this first excavation on behalf of our atheist friends, both to their delight at the challenge to establish religious power games and their dismay at the implications thereafter. Very few academics are quite as confident as the materialist types, espousing their axioms with the certitude of MacArthur Wheeler, the first to claim the Dunning-Kruger of others is the first to earn it. Ironic, the need for this bittersweet medicine. My friends, it may behoove you to listen closely. I fear you've been fed a lie, a demand from the various institutional magisteria, those clever cotton mouths, nesting in tepid waters to prey on the naive, smuggling out definition and an assumption under murky cloud. We've seen it over and over again. Institutional, greasing the semantic slope. Nietzsche said it very well. They muddy the waters to make it seem deep. But yet, I fear even our ardent skeptic didn't see the deeper intentionality. Not rebellion from uncomfortable truths, simply the refusal to look at what is. By now you may be thinking of fleeing, but I assure you, even if this is something you don't want to hear, it is something you should listen to, if for no other reason than to understand what you already are. Neil Strauss once wrote, "People believe what they want to believe, and what they want to believe is whatever allows them to justify what they want to do." Agreed. And what follows is inevitable. Of course, I don't expect you to merely accept the conclusion. Save that nonsense for Foucault. Instead, I invite you to consider something. Something quite simple, actually. A map. Before we examine the territory, we must first define our terms. What are we mapping? There are many models of Brahman, many models of God, many models of the Tao, and more. Perhaps there is even a model of what is ultimate for each person who has thought hard about it. Stanford Encyclopedia of Philosophy, God and Other Ultimates, Winter 2021. The main aim is to establish that teleological metaphysics provides a religiously adequate alternative to the personal omnigod understanding of theism, prevalent amongst analytic philosophers. God is not a personal being. God talk may be understood as resting on a radical analogy that is apt for enabling right human responses to ultimate divine reality. Oxford Academic, God, Purpose, and Reality, a teleological understanding of theism. John Bishop and Ken Parzik, 2023. Even found in SEP and Oxford remain these scraps, not entirely burned away by the power-hungry factions rewriting history to serve them. From every angle. Based upon this definition, there's no recorded theism that must be excluded. Unlike more modern definitions that conveniently ignore history. I will say this very clearly. If you must burn books to rewrite cultures to validate your definition, it is false. Even before the written word, people have wrestled with the same question. The first we learn to ask, the one that serves as an early addiction. Why? Across cultures and traditions, people have mapped this territory. Not perfectly, not completely, but consistently. The question is not whether the map exists. The question is, where do you stand on it? For such an inquiry, this is no simple map, but this is a finite map, and it is complete. I present to you what I call the Five Theisms. Now, these aren't five philosophies, and these aren't five religions. These are five categories that together create an exhaustive definitional scope that describe every possible answer to the questions. What is supreme? What is ultimate? What is real? There is no sixth, and there is no one that escapes gravity. There is only the territory. One ultimate reality, one supreme principle, one source. This is the position of much of recorded history. Whether Abraham's God, Allah, some views on Brahman, the Tao, one ultimate arbiter from which all proceeds. The appeal is obvious. Simplicity, order, a single point from which meaning flows. Even those who reject monotheism describe it. Sam Harris, no friend to the category, nonetheless writes, "The problem with monotheism is not that it is too confident in God's existence, but that it is too confident in its own understanding of God's nature." He doesn't escape the map. He simply relocates on it. Bertrand Russell, the arch-skeptic. What is wanted is not the will to believe, but the wish to find out. Yet Russell himself operated from the assumption that reason itself was ultimate. He stood in monotheism's territory. He simply named his ultimate differently. Many ultimate realities, many supreme principles in relation, power distributed across the territory. This could be both a conflicting or warring set of principles or a hierarchical one. The Greeks knew it. The Norse knew it. Multiple forces, multiple ultimacies, in constant negotiation and conflict. Consider what polytheism describes. Reality is contested, power as distributed. No single arbiter, but many. The contemporary philosopher Graham Harman describes object-oriented ontology. Multiple realities existing in tension, none fully accessible to the others. He doesn't use the word gods, but his map reads the same nonetheless. The self as ultimate reality. The individual, supreme arbiter. This is where we see the map most clearly for those who inhabit it. The sovereign conscience. The unified self choosing reality into being. You are the ultimate. Every claim of radical subjectivity lands here. Every my truth claimed as literal. Every assertion of total individual freedom and authority. Ayn Rand, explicit in her position, I swear by my life and my love of it that I will never live for the sake of another man, nor ask another man to live for the sake of mine. She knew the territory she occupied. Jean-Paul Sartre. Existence precedes essence. Not essence given by God, not essence determined by nature. Your choice makes you. You are the ultimate arbiter of your reality. And even David Hume, the empiricist. For my part, when I enter most intimately into what I call myself, I always stumble on some particular perception or other. I never can catch myself at any time without a perception. He mapped the territory while attempting to deny it. The self is supreme principle, even in its fragmentation. Autotheism exists, even if merely in mind. And still we descend, yet deeper and deeper, where the light of the truth rarely reaches the inhabitants. All reality is supreme. The universe itself is ultimate. Reality and ultimacy, one and the same. There's nothing beyond the physical. Energy, matter, information, natural law, these are supreme. These are what we measure, what we study. What is real? The atheist scientist often describes this, without naming it. Carl Sagan, the cosmos is all that is, or was, or ever will be. He stated it as fact. He inhabited polytheism's territory. Philip Mainlander, explicit. Matter is God. Not metaphorically, the material universe itself is ultimate reality. Obviously claiming the territory. Ultimate reality transcends and pervades all things. Supreme principle is in all things and beyond. This describes reality that is both immanent and transcendent. The physical world is real, but it's not all that's real. There's more. There's a principle that exceeds measurement. The physicist Paul Davies. The appearance of design is overwhelming. He doesn't deny the physical universe. He simply notes that it points beyond itself. Alfred North Whitehead. God is the participant in every creation, not a distant maker, not absent, but present in creation and beyond it simultaneously. And Lawrence Krauss, defending materialism. Something can come from nothing because nothing is unstable. He attempted to contain reality within the physical. Instead, he described a principle that transcends it. He mapped the territory despite himself. So here we are. I've presented 5 categories. Not 5 religions, not 5 philosophies. 5 exhaustive positions on ultimate reality. 5 answers to what is supreme. And I ask you, genuinely, find me one coherent belief system, one axiom set, one way of making meaning in this world that does not land squarely in these 5. You can't? Because the map is complete. There is no 6th region, and the only fuel by which to reach escape velocity is denial. Atheism's not a position without theism. It's pantheism or autotheism, claiming neutrality. It's standing on the territory and denying that the very ground beneath it exists. Agnosticism isn't a position outside of theism. It's a refusal to locate yourself on the map. But you're standing there nonetheless. The question is not, are you a theist? The question is, which theist are you? There may be debate on whether the five theisms exist. There may be debate on whether you occupy one of them. There may be debate on if this maps to the full territory as it exists today. But there is no question. There is but an answer. This knowledge is yours to do with as you will. If you've the temperament to continue, I'll see you next time. Until then, keep digging.